probably the biggest news, other than the fact that the last time I reported to you, the government was still closed. The government is now reopened again. So that's really good for a lot of people who are depending on them for paychecks. So glad to see that happen. Maybe we can get some business done now after that. A couple really important things that came out over the last couple of weeks. First, at the Minamata Convention on Mercury, which happened in November of this year, an official ban of mercury did happen. The effective date is 2034. So I think that just puts manufacturers on notice and countries on notice that they have to start putting infrastructure in place to provide alternative restorative materials. A lot of the EU countries already have the ban in place, but the United States has not officially put that ban in. I think this will probably seal the deal on moving away from amalgam restorations altogether in the US. And certainly manufacturers will not be making those materials, or will licensed clinicians be allowed to place amalgam restorations after 2034. So just wanted to give you an update on that, as that might impact quite a few of our audience. A couple of interesting things on the statistics side of dentistry, which I think is always really important to track, because the business of dentistry has become quite interesting. As of the year 2024, 2025, there are over 27, almost 28,000 dental students currently enrolled in a U.S. dental school. That is significantly up, I think, about a couple thousand over the last few years. The largest enrollment population is at NYU at over 1,500 dental students. Now, on the flip side of that, unfortunately, we're seeing a decrease in the total compensation for dentists. So I think this is important to highlight the nuances of the differences between the two, because as we're increasing the marketplace with new grads, we're also seeing a consistent decline in net income for dentists across the board. We've seen a steady decrease since the year 2022, and actually the net income is starting to encroach back to where we were in 2020, which we know was drastically impacted by shutdowns in offices and dentists that could not work at their normal pace because their offices were closed for an extended period of time. The actual decrease is around 17,000, but when you adjust for inflation, we're actually seeing about 60,000 in decrease in net income since 2010 for dental providers. So, the business of dentistry is quite interesting. And I think a lot of people assume dentists are just cash cowing it. And I'm not saying there are just not a few of us out there that are doing incredibly well. And most of us are earning a decent living to provide for our family. But let's not mistake the fact that I would make a slight argument of all those who are employed or work for dental companies, dentists are the ones probably taking the only decrease in salary. I know that is statistically true for my practice, and I think for a lot of folks as well, that we're seeing a decrease in the dental salaries, but increase in most support staff salaries, most hygiene salaries, and certainly we're seeing an increase in costs to vendors and operative costs. So I would assume those costs are being passed on to those companies as well. So food for thought, because we have a flood of new grads coming out with an increase in debt load approaching $500,000 and a consistent decrease in salary. I'm not an economist. I don't work for the government in predicting these things, but that is not a healthy trend if you are heading to dental school. Another interesting statistic, and I thought I bring it up tonight because of our sponsor. We're really honored to have Align Technologies as our sponsor tonight. Interestingly, in a Forbes survey of America's Dream Employers list for 2026, Align Technologies and Dentsply Sirona both made the list. Of 500 companies across a range of industries throughout the U.S., Align came in at 188 and Dentsply Sirona at 373. And lastly, we're seeing a lot of interesting movement on regulatory issues associated with private equity. For example, California recently passed a bill that's going to give the attorney general more power to take action against corporate entities that may interfere with medical and dental practices and their ability to make patient care decisions and how they code and bill for procedures. Pennsylvania also passed legislation that would expand their attorney general's authority to review and block potential mergers and acquisitions. So, interesting movement in that landscape as well. I got to tell you, the dental industry is never short of entertaining. And with that, that's the news.